את רואה אותי?
היי, שלום.
רואה אותי?
כן, אני גם רואה את עצמי.
מה שלומך?
אני בסדר, מה שלומך?
אוי, וואי, איך אני מתרגשת. קר לי מאוד.
אבל אני רוצה לראות את הילדים.
אז רגע, תראי, פשוט המצלמה היא הולכת לכיוון הזה, אז אני אראה לך את הילדים, ואז כל מי שיש לו שאלה יקום למסך. אז תגיד שלום.
שלום.
היי.
זה נייט. תגידו את השם שלכם בעברית. אני...
נתן.
אני שושנה. איליה.
ברי? מיכל?
אני מיכל.
אני לאה חבו. וזאת מורה אולגה?
היי. היי.
ואני? את מכירה אותי.
כן, וואו, אותי מקגעת, וואו.
גמרי, ממש. זה כאילו אתמול היית בכיתה ח'.
וואו. ממש, וואו.
זה ממש מוזר שאת עכשיו בצבא ואני פה.
I was doing the math. Whoever was here when I was in 8th grade, they were either in 2nd or 3rd grade, right? So maybe we met.
Yeah.
Do you guys know her? Ken?
No idea.
In the school.
Shoshana?
My brothers, Matthew and Harry, were also in the school until 8th
You know
grade.
Harry?
I think we do.
I think Matthew was the closest to you in age, so... נכון?
Yeah.
איזה כיתה מתיו, קיילי?
He graduated 2 years ago, so 2018.
So he's in 10th grade. מה? Daniel's class, Ken.
Yeah.
Ken. So you guys know him?
Yeah.
Okay. So, כן, קיילי, כמה שאלות, אוקיי? ואנחנו נשאל את השאלות, כל ילד יקום וישאל את השאלות, חלק כתבו בעברית, חלק כתבו באנגלית. They prefer in English the answers, נכון? גם את כשהיית בכיתה ח' רצית את הכל באנגלית, נכון?
כן.
מתי אמרה כל הזמן בעברית, נכון?
נכון.
אז מי רוצה להיות ראשון? Don't point others, you go. Come on, ליה, יאללה, start. בואי שושן.
Talk very loudly, because it's hard for me to hear you guys.
באמת?
Ken.
Where's the microphone?
No idea.
I hear you more, Mati, but the kids, when they said their names...
Because when they come here, you can hear them. Okay.
Hi. What's your favorite part about being in the army?
Okay. Good question. Wow, there's a lot of parts to it. I guess, I don't know. My favorite part about being in the army, well, first of all, I really wanted to do it. It's been my dream since I was in the Hebrew Academy when I was in it was called the Shalom and Schechter. But I guess my favorite part about it is the challenge, because it's definitely hard with the Hebrew. I'm in combat. I'm like a fighter. So physically, it's very hard. But it's really interesting. I do search and rescue. So we work with tools and we do like rescue missions. So I like the challenge. I like learning. And especially being with Israelis all the time, it's expanded my cultural awareness. And I've immersed more into Israel. And my Hebrew has definitely improved since I was in your guys' shoes.
Amazing.
So I guess those are the benefits.
ממש. תודה, קיילי. Okay, who's next?
Then,
Oi,
yeah, you can come if you want.
anybody's with you?
Yeah, actually, I have a friend with me. She's a lone soldier, an Ola Khadasha from Belgium.
Wow.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for my hair. My name is Yael. I am from Belgium. And yeah, I came to Israel about 10 months ago.
She made Aliyah.
I made Aliyah and I'm with Kylie in search and rescue in the UK.
I'm so jealous. I wish I was...
You should come. You can stay with me. Jerusalem welcomes you.
Do you guys have a spare bed for me?
Yes, of course.
איפה אתם גרות?
אז אני גרה בירושלים, אבל יעל גרה ברעננה.
אבל זה כמו, זה אכסניה או לא אכסניה, דירה? כאילו, איך זה עובד?
כן, אז יש שם מרכז לחיילים בודדים בירושלים, והם משכירים דירה, ואז אני פשוט גרה פה, והצבא משלם לזה.
אוקיי,
אני יכולה לראות אתכם, זה הדירה.
וואו, איזה דירה חמודה. them and God is paying for the apartment. Okay? That's when you're a lone soldier, חייל בודד, the army is paying for your apartment.
את מתכוונת לחזור אחרי השירות או את נשארת?
אני חוזרת. עכשיו זאת תוכנית. אני רוצה ללכת ל-UCLA.
מה את רוצה ללמוד?
ביולוגיה.
ביולוגיה.
וואו, איזה אחלה חוויה, וואו.
ממש. אולי אני אסביר קצת מה אני עושה לפני שהם שואלים פשוט.
Okay, so she wants to know first what she's doing before you ask the question, okay? Okay. אבל באנגלית, כי יש פה ילדים שלא מבינים עברית בכלל.
Yes, of course. I remember also when I was in 8th grade, if someone spoke to me in Hebrew like this, I don't know. But
Chris, yeah. Do you remember Chris from the office?
Yes, hi.
I have to get you. You're in yes, so I'll get you a campus.
Okay, so I guess I'll just give a little background for you guys because I don't know how much you know about what I'm doing. But basically, I'm in a program called Machal, and it's like I'm a volunteer for the army. I didn't make Aliyah. I'm not a citizen here. I just really wanted to come and serve in the army. And so my service is shorter than the Israelis. It's 1.5 years. Israeli girls have to do 2 years, but because I'm just a volunteer, not a citizen, this isn't required for me. So I came to Israel a 1.5 years ago, and I did Mechina. And Mechina is basically a gap year for Israeli high school students before they go to the army. They take a year off, and they get to learn about Israel, about the army, make friends, live in a new place. A lot of them take place in a kibbutz. You guys know what a kibbutz is, right?
Yeah.
But mine actually took place in Tel Aviv, which was super fun. I lived in South Tel Aviv, which is full of immigrants from East Africa. And so what I did that year, well, like half a year ago already, for that year, I volunteered in a school with first graders, and I was their counselor, and all the kids were immigrants from Eritrea and Sudan, and also children of migrant workers from the Philippines. I traveled Israel. I went to Sde Boker, Beersheba, the West Bank. I spoke with Palestinians. I spoke with settlers. I spoke with Israelis, secular, religious, Bedouins, Druzim. Do you guys recognize the different populations in Israel?
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah.
So Israel is very diverse with a lot of different populations, Arab, Jews, from all over the world. So I got to talk to a lot of different people, which was great for me to understand Israel more because I wasn't ready to make Aliyah and like commit to service. I was like, I've only been to Israel as a tourist. I want to recognize Israel for like all the good and all the bad. So I did that for 7 months. Corona hit, and then thankfully my draft still stayed. So I drafted to a program that the army has called Mikveh Alon. And Mikveh Alon is a base that gives it's an educational base. Because even though the army, one role is to protect Israel, another role of the Israeli army is also to provide an education to Israelis. So the army offers for Israeli teenagers to finish their high school diploma if they didn't have a good educational background, and also to convert to Judaism if there are new immigrants who their mother is not Jewish or they want to convert to Judaism. It offers that option. And also they offer a Hebrew course for new immigrants like myself, and also Bedouins and Druzim. So I took the Hebrew course. It was 3 months. I actually met my friend Yael there. And I learned a lot of Hebrew. But I have to say that if I had started from Ephes, if I had no Hebrew, I don't think I would be able to speak like I do today. But really being in your guys' shoes and having like taking Hebrew classes every day, and even writing those, I remember still in the Machber, writing those 10 sentences every Friday for the test, it like stuck with me, and I was able to learn so quickly Hebrew because you're exposed to it right now. It's like it's in the back of your head, and so when you come to Israel and you take time here and you learn more, you'll be able to like that. And one of the benefits is that I can do the chet sound, which a lot of Americans can't do. What else? So after that, after 3 months, we had to choose our position in the army. And so choosing your position in the army isn't as simple as it sounds. It's a lot of processes. I had to take a lot of tests. I had to take a Hebrew test to see if I was qualified for like combat positions, because you have to have a high level of Hebrew to be in combat, so you can understand what's going on, which makes sense. And I took tests on like personality tests and IQ tests and all these things. And then I met with a job placement officer. And I told him I really, really wanted to be a combat soldier, how I wanted to give all that I can of myself to the country, and I figured combat was the best place for me to do it. But they have a lot of other options as well. They have intelligence, they have combat support, and they have other jobs in computers and many other options. International relations, spokesperson unit, a lot of options. And so at the end of my Hebrew course, my commander gave me like a little card, and it was like where I was going to go, where I was going to draft to next. And it was a search and rescue unit, which was the unit of my dreams. So I was very, very happy. And basically the search and rescue unit is a special unit in the Israeli army. It goes under the Home Front Command. And so what we do is civilian defense. And so we mainly don't enter other territories like Lebanon, Syria, or Gaza. We stay in the West Bank, and we do guard duty there during times of peace. We do guard duty, we do arrests, we if there's protests, we like, what do you say? Like we disperse the protests and all that. And then in times of catastrophe, we like Corona, we assist in aid for civilians. We provide food, we help the elderly, and in times of like disaster, if there's an earthquake, a building falls, whatever, we do rescue missions. Also, my unit is known to do rescue missions abroad. If you guys heard about the earthquake in Mexico or other problems in Brazil, Israel sends soldiers from the search and rescue unit to other countries, and they're always the first country to come and provide aid. So it's a very, very cool unit. And so we train in infantry, which is like war, but we also specialize in search and rescue. So next week, actually, I'm going to have a 24-hour drill without sleeping. We're going to be at a rescue site, and it's like an imitation of if a giant building had fallen and there are people underneath. They like have these big dummies, and I've never imagined myself using all these like jackhammers and straw and saws and all this, but now I find myself like cutting out like tons and tons of cement in order to save a dummy's life. So it's very cool training. And I like it a lot because I know after the army, like I'll have a background in something that's really important and that I can use to also continue to save lives afterwards. Yeah, and I'm with all these Israelis. It's just me. I'm the only American in my pluga, which is like a group of 90. I don't know what it is in English. I don't know the army words in English. I think it's Italian, if you guys know.
A platoon or Italian, yeah. I think it's a platoon, though. Mm-hmm.
Platoon is machlaka.
That's smaller.
That I know.
Oh,
it's like you have a kita, which is the smallest unit. It's like 10 people. And then in a machlaka, which is a platoon, I think, it's 3 kitot, so 30 people. And then you have a pluga, which is 3 machlakot. And then you have a gadud. But yeah, so my pluga, I'm the only American. And everyone's Israeli, besides for Yael and a couple other lone soldiers. So it's really cool. It's like, finally, I'm like an Israeli in a way, speaking Hebrew all the time, every day. Yeah, and every weekend I get to go to my friends' houses, have Shabbat there, all different places in Israel, whether it's the north, the south, or even across the Green Line. So it's a very, very cool experience. I myself live in Jerusalem. Now, after I drafted, I moved to Jerusalem. And I live with a bunch of other lone soldiers who serve in different units, some in intelligence, some in other combat units. So it's a very cool experience. All right, so I just want to give you guys a little background so you guys know who you're talking to. And also, I graduated from the Hebrew Academy in 2015. And I was there from kindergarten until 8th grade.
Oh my God. Yes, mamash. I have chills, guys, from just hearing. Kylie, אתה ממש מרגשת. Because I had Kylie also, I think she was my last class that I had in first grade, right, Kylie?
Yeah.
What I used to teach first grade, so Kylie was in my first grade, and then I had her for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Kylie's different stages in life, and actually in 8th grade, I saw how much she cares about Israel. What's wrong? Okay, you want to go there? Okay. So I know how much Kylie at 8th grade already loved to learn about Israel and how much she wanted to be already in Israel. And I didn't go to their Israel trip. Boyoti went with them, but I know how much she enjoyed it. And she in 8th grade she was ready to speak Hebrew. It took her a while, but then she started talking and she just told you about the writing and everything. Her writing was amazing. I don't know if you kept any of her books, but you did really. You were very good in Hebrew. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I tried.
But yeah, Chava is going to ask a question, and then we're going to give a chance to other people to ask. Yeah, Chava.
I'm afraid that you answered all of my questions.
Wait, I didn't hear.
Say it again. She didn't hear you.
You answered all of my questions.
Oh, no, I was just giving a background. Take from that something so you can ask a question. Sorry.
Okay,
question.
okay, תודה חווה. בואי ליה.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, what's a day like in the army?
A day in the army. Okay, so, all right, so we wake up and every time, we wake up at 4 a.m. Depends, sometimes 3 a.m., or maybe until 6. We only get 6.5 hours of sleep every night. So whenever we go to sleep, it's 6.5 hours after, and then we wake up. And you go outside and you're in your pajamas, okay? And then you open a chet. And a chet is, the letter chet, so like it's just the way we stand. It's like it looks like a chet. And it's just a forum so like the commander can speak to you. And he goes, open your watch, start your watch. And he's like, 7 minutes to get all in your uniform, to put on galchatz, which is to paint your shoes black. And for the boys, they have to shave every morning. And so 7 minutes, and everyone starts running, like in their pajamas, and they have to do everything. And putting on the uniform takes some time, and putting on the galchatz, so everyone goes crazy. Because in the army, you cannot be late to any of the times the commander opens. If you're late, it's very bad. They say times are holy. So you get there after 7 minutes, and then you start this thing called matalot, which is cleaning the whole base. And so, you have to do this thing. What?
I said I wish all of them can go to Israel to do this.
Oh yeah. When I lived at home, I wouldn't even wash the dishes, and now I spend the day. I don't even. I'm learning how to clean. And so yeah, once you do all that, you start your day. And so every day looks different. My weeks, because I'm in training still, I'm not actually in active duty. I'm still in training, so it looks different than what I'll be in 3 months. But we start the day, and so sometimes we'll go to the shooting range, and we'll like shoot targets, and we'll run and we'll jump, and we'll get our heart racing, and then we'll shoot. Sometimes we don't even shoot targets. We go side by side, shooting into the distance, calling commands. Other days we have rescue missions, like I was explaining to you guys. Trying to think what other themes we have. One of these next weeks, we're going to have which we're going to there's going to be buildings, and we're going to pretend we're in war, and we're going to have to shoot and go through the buildings and all that. What else do we do, Yael? Shavua, this is the Shavua is in right now, and we have to do shmirot, which is guard duty on the base, kitchen duty. But I want to talk more about the fun stuff. Kitchen duty is not the best. Sadach, we just had Shavua Sadach, which is educational week. Because of Corona, we couldn't do all the tours, but basically when you do training in the Israeli army, they want to show you Israel. So they take you, maybe things you'll get to do on your Israel trip, Har Herzl, Yad Vashem. You learn about the army, you learn about Israel, about Judaism, which was really interesting. and I knew a lot because of my time at the Hebrew Academy. Actually, I was disappointed because I knew more than the Israelis about most things. About the War of Independence. They ask questions about the Yom Kippur War, all these things about Judaism. Everyone, especially when it comes to things about Judaism, sometimes kids would just look up like. So they were impressed with me when I knew more things about Israel than the Israelis did. So know that, guys, that you have that knowledge. And we had this week called Sadaut. Okay, so the Shetach, you have the base. We call the base our home. Wait, what? How does it go? No. The Shetach we call our home. Okay, the Shetach is outside in the desert or in the woods. It's not. You have no house. It's just land. Okay, we call the base our home, and then we call the house our house, the hotel, because we're always at home. We're always outside the base, like sleeping in the dirt. We dig holes to sleep in them. Sometimes, once my commander made me crawl up a sand dune that was like never ending. It was like Mount Everest, and I get to the top. And I see Gaza. I'm on the border with Gaza. I see the buildings of Gaza. It's insane. I felt like I was in an episode of Fauda. I'm very shockistic. Like it means like when you're in shock all the time. So I'm like, oh my god, that's Gaza. My commander's like, yeah, do you know where you are? I'm like, yeah.
shockistic.
אני ממש שוקיסטית, אבל זה בסדר.
ורסת, קיילי, אתה ורסת, ממש.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like a lot of experiences like that, and sometimes we have to eat out of cans. Like they don't give us food. Sometimes they have to eat out of cans, but they don't give us a can opener. So like you'll find the kids like punching the cans to try to get some beans or corn out. But most days we get food. Most days we get to go to the cheder, and the food is good at my base. And I'm also vegan. So I was scared I wouldn't get food, but they always have food for me. What else? We did a lot of cool things. But on Kav, it's called, when I go to active duty, my first Kav where I'll be serving is Hebron. Do you guys know what Hebron is?
You learned about that, נכון? עם מוריות? כן.
It's a very, very intense city. It has a lot of biblical importance. Our mothers and fathers are buried there. At the Cave of the Patriarchs, if everyone's ever visited. And so a lot of Jews feel this connection to Hebron, and a lot of Jews live there. But also it's in the West Bank, and it has a large Palestinian majority. And so there's a lot of tension in the city. And so my unit will go. I'll be going there in February, and I'll be doing guard duty and arrests, and there's a lot of attacks. And so the Israeli army has to be there. It's a very exciting station to be at for your first station. And yeah, so when we're in active duty, if you go to the West Bank in Israel, you'll see a lot of times soldiers on the side of the road holding up their guns because they're there to protect everyone so they can live b'shigra, they can live regularly and safely. And then we do arrests at night in the Arab villages and houses where they're hiding terrorists or guns or weapons. Yeah, and then like I said, like if there is God forbid, if there's ever an emergency where a building collapses or whatever, my unit's the one to go and do the rescue mission. We go instead of the police, the ambulances, all that. We are in charge of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
איזה מעניין. Guys, who else have a question? Go, Nate.
I have 2 questions.
Awesome. The more the merrier.
The first one's gonna be quick. Do you know Dean Humash?
Was he in there when I was there? I think I remember his name. I think he was in my brother's grade. Does that make sense?
He was in David Vigna piano's class.
I remember him, yeah. Was he your brother?
Yeah. The second one is, what was your Israel trip like?
Oh, my Israel trip in 8th grade. Wow. I remember, okay, we went to the Bedouin tents. I don't know if you guys will go to this, but it's like a little oasis in the middle of the Negev. And we rode camels there. We also rode donkeys. That was really, or llama, I forget what animal, donkey. It was really fun. Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite part in the Israel trip?
Oof, I don't remember. I think I need to look at pictures. I have so many pictures from the trip. The Dead Sea was really cool. Be excited for that. My favorite part though was probably when we went to the hotel. I remember I put my letter into the hotel. I was really excited to do that. It was a very fun experience, and being with your friends and going to Israel together, a great combination.
Anybody else has questions? Yeah, מה את רוצה לשאול?
אני רוצה לשאול השאלה של
איזה?
She really answered all of my questions.
Wait, which one? This one. Okay, so Kylie, Olga wants to know אם את מרגישה שונה מהחיילים הישראלים. Do you feel different from the Israeli soldiers? Like when you're like in the army, do you feel like you're different? Do you feel like you're Israeli?
Yeah, so I do feel different. I won't lie. I feel very American in comparison. But it's in a good way. They love that about me. They love to call me Kylie Jenner. But yeah, I'm different.
much.
Smarter than Kylie Jenner, prettier than Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
Do they call you Zehava?
So yeah, I have my sidor that has the Zava written on it because I got that for my bat mitzvah, and like I use it, and they're like, why is that? I have to explain like my Hebrew name. They don't understand the concept Hebrew names because they all have Hebrew names.
Yeah.
I explain a lot about American Judaism to them. Yeah, I'm different, but it's in a good way. They like that, and I think it adds to the experience.
What's your favorite city in Israel?
There's really such thing as a favorite city.
I lived my time here in Beersheba, Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem.
Oh my God, Kylie, I'm from Beersheba.
Yeah, I was just there for 2 months. I did Opan at Ben Gurion University. I was in Shchunat David. I didn't get to explore it much. What?
Did you go to a bar in Shchunat Dalet that is named Roots?
No, I was still 17 then.
So next time when you're in Beersheba,
I'll visit.
When you're in Tel Aviv, so I can, when after Corona, of course.
If we go on our Israel trip, are we going to see?
Yeah, of course, we're gonna meet with Kylie when you guys be in Israel, definitely.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
What's your favorite Israeli food?
Hummus.
Hummus.
Today, actually, I came home. I have 1 day off from the army, and so I went straight to get hummus.
That's good. And my last question, I don't know if you guys have more. How's life in Israel different than New Jersey?
Oh my God.
Oh, so different. One story I like to tell to sum it up was the first time I had to go to the grocery store, because when I was living in Beersheba, I lived by myself and I had to learn to take care of myself for the first time. I had to go to the grocery store and I waited in line. Okay, I go up to the line, and then all of a sudden someone cuts me in line. And I didn't really know how to respond to that. I've never had that experience before. And then slowly, I start going to the back of the line. I'm telling the story now. And then all of a sudden I realized there's like 5 people in front of me in the line. I don't understand how that happened. I was literally putting my stuff down on the conveyor belt. So I learned the culture here is different. It's a lot of chutzpah.
There's no line, right? The chutzpah.
Yeah, it's a lot of chutzpah. There's less manners and politeness, but it's in a fun way. I think it balances out because the people here are so much warmer than the people in America, so much more real and genuine, and really care more about one another. Like in America, I could walk and everyone would mind their own business, and no one really cares. In Israel, I cross a red light, like thinking no one's looking, and I get yelled at by 1,000 people. Hamuda, dizeri, be careful, stop, like all these things. Like I don't realize people actually care about one another here. And it translates to everything. Like every Shabbat, I get invited to a home, even from families who I don't recognize, families who I've spoken to for like a minute. They're like, oh, and they're like, come to my house, I'll prepare you all this food. My neighbors bring me food for meals. Everyone's so caring here and loving. But yeah, I think the culture is the main difference. Like the people,
I want to be in Israel too.
לכי תעשי מילואים. מורה אמרתי תעשה מילואים, רק בשביל...
If they ask,
Well, where did you serve? Where did you serve in the army?
I was in לשכת קחצר, קצין חי"ר בצנחנים ראשי.
Where?
It was in Castina, next to Castina, but then we moved to Ramle. It's הלשכה של קצין חי"ר בצנחנים ראשי.
צנחנים.
Troops and all fighters were under my commander.
Very cool.
I'll tell you about that.
Do mילואים.
It was our classes that we have 1 minute for class ending. So do you guys have any other question, Liora? Okay, what? Ask.
What are you gonna do after you're done with the army?
So that is the best question because who knows? I got into college already in Los Angeles, UCLA, if you guys know. And I think I'm gonna go there. I think I'm gonna go back to America and study biology at UCLA. But who knows? Maybe I want to take a trip after. There's this thing where Israelis take a trip after the army and go to South America or India, and that sounds fun. Or maybe I'll stay in Israel in the end. Who knows? I really love this country. I imagine my children growing up here, but don't tell my mom that. She'll have a heart attack.
Does mom wants to kill me because I made you like love Israel this way?
No, she's let's do it.
Kylie, we can talk to you all day. You know that, right? Liora, last one. Liora, last one. And then Kylie, maybe next time we can have a meeting with your mahloka.
Yeah, I would love that. I need to talk to them about that. Maybe, and I think it would be good for them, you guys, because they need have a lot to learn about Jewish diaspora.
אבל תודה רבה לך, עשי והצליחי, את ממש מדהימה. ואת מאוד מרגשת.
היה לי ממש כיף לעשות את זה, ותודה לכולם על השאלות.
One more question. Do you have one more question, or we'll keep it for next time? מה? מה?
She vegan.
You said she's vegan.
So she vegan.
Bye.
So have you ever had a monkey?
Bye.
Nice one.
What did you ask? Have I ever had meat, he asked?
Milky. Milky?
Yes, when I was in Schechter, I had milky. In first grade, I remember.
אוקיי, תאכל את הכל בישראל, את כל מה שמותר לה עכשיו. קיילי, חמודה שלי, אני חייבת ללכת לכיתה ו', אבל אני כל כך שמחתי לראות, את רואה אותי?
קצת, עכשיו.
אני כל כך שמחתי לראות אותך, ממש בא לי לבכות מרוב שאת חמודה ומקסימה, יש לי חמוד ממש, אני אדבר איתך ואנחנו נקבע עם המחלקה, יש פה המון מתנות כבר בשבילכם, התחלנו כבר לשים את זה בשקיות.
תודה, וואו.
את פשוט מהממת, אין לי מילים, בא לי לבכות ולחבק אותך.
אמרתי את זה, אבל אני צריכה להגיד תודה לך, כי באמת.
מה תודה לך?
אני לא אהיה ככה.
חמודה.
Seriously, it's all from your classes. Seriously, I'm serious. Like, I honestly think back to the reason why I'm like this, and it's because of you, Mati.
איזה חמודה. באמת. אני אוהבת אותך.
ביי.
ביי.